Now, Kentucky surprised everybody and their mother's auntie's mother when they got upset by Oakland, a team that's not even in California, a smaller D1 school, Oakland, located in Michigan. And it's kind of funny because a reporter asked Robert Dillingham before the game, how would it feel to being able to play NC State in the second round of the March Madness tournament if they're able to beat Oakland? Obviously, Robert Dillingham replied that you kind of have to focus one game at a time. You can't get too ahead of yourself and you got to focus at the task at hand. Fast forward to where we are today, about to be in the Sweet 16. Obviously, Kentucky lost, like I mentioned earlier. And just like you and me, they're probably either in Cancun or they're probably going to be chilling with the fam watching the Sweet 16. Now, why is me mentioning NC State important in this video? Like I mentioned in my video yesterday, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys out there already know this, but back in 2021, Robert Dillingham actually committed to NC State, I believe in December 1st, 2021. And I know at that time, people definitely had questions about his decision. And I believe he was also one of the first players in that 23 class to actually commit to a school. I think Rob was either just coming off of his sophomore year, just now entering into his junior year whenever he was playing at Donda. And believe it or not, Robert Dillingham actually committing to NC State, I believe was the second highest recruit that program has ever had, apart from Dennis Smith Jr. So there was definitely high hopes for Robert Dillingham to make this decision. And obviously due to the fact that Robert Dillingham is from North Carolina, wanting to stay, closer to his family, putting on for the state, putting on for the city, there was definitely some obvious reasons why Robert Dillingham, made that decision. I think at that time too, North Carolina, they had recruited Simeon Wilcher and the other few guys at the point guard position. So Robert Dillingham going to NC State was probably a little bit better for Rob Dillingham, but ultimately things just did not go as planned. It's kind of crazy. A few months later, Rob Dillingham actually surprised a lot of people and announced on March 19th, 2022 that he was actually going to be decommitting from NC State, and he's going to be exploring his options to see where exactly he's going to be going next. He never really gave an exact reason as to why he was decommitting from the program, but if you remember in that specific moment in time, NC State, they just were not the best program to play for. I know in that season that Rob had committed, NC State had won 4-16 in ACC play, 11-21 overall. There was just a lot of drama. They had players transferring. There was conversations about the coach getting fired. The team just was not it in that specific moment in time. And you guys know a few months later, in June of 2022, Robert Dillingham announced that he was actually going to be playing for Kentucky. Now the only reason why I'm even making this video, like I just mentioned a few seconds ago, this NC State team has not been good for the past 5, 10 or so years. This NC State team has not made it to the Elite Eight in, I believe, close to 40 years. And the last time that this team has actually made it to the Sweet 16 was back in 2015, which was about 9 years ago. Apart from last year, they've been playing in the NIT tournament, which obviously nobody wants to even play in that tournament. And it's kind of crazy. Ever since Kentucky lost in the first round, I've been having a lot of people actually sending me and alerting me that Robert Dillingham may have made a huge mistake to actually decommit from NC State and go to Kentucky because, like I mentioned, NC State right now, they're in the Sweet 16. They are on a huge win streak. They've been winning every single game that they've been playing in since March 12th. Back in the ACC tournament, they surprised everybody and won that tournament. They have no business. They had no business being in the March Madness tournament this year. But the fact that they won the outright in that ACC tournament with all the tough teams that they had to play, beating the teams that they had to play en route to win that conference championship. They surprised Texas Tech in the first round, beat Oakland, the exact same team that beat Kentucky in the first round in overtime. And this NC State team, they are the only double-digit team right now in the March Madness tournament. Robert Dillingham could have been in this position playing for NC State. Guys, the roster that this team has, a lot of people aren't going to know who's on this team. But if you sit down and watch this NC State team, the star power that they have with DJ Burns, DJ Horn leading the unit as the point guard, being the leading scorer on this team, averaging close to 17 points a game. We obviously got to bring up Mohamed Diarra, who's playing during Ramadan, leading this team in rebounding. I mean, I don't know what goes on when people and basketball players are playing during Ramadan, but they just reach a whole nother level, guys. We got to say mashallah in the comment section. Shout out Mohamed Diarra. And shout out to everybody on this North Carolina State team. And like I mentioned, people has been telling me that Robert Dillingham could have been in this position. He made a mistake by going to Kentucky and betting on himself when ultimately that Kentucky team may have been, they may have had better players on that team. They may have had a coach that can get them to the NBA. They obviously have better history. They're a staple when it comes to college basketball. And NC State, there's really not much that you can really say about this college team, especially over the last few years. And the fact that they beat all the odds, they beat all the naysayers, they have a coach that people was saying is going to get fired without ranked players on their team. They have managed to reach the Sweet 16. And this is all without this man, Rob Dillingham, on this program. Now, me personally, I'm not going to sit here and say that Robert Dillingham made a mistake by going to Kentucky. I mean, if you ask a lot of people, most people would rather go to Kentucky than NC State. That's no disrespect to NC State. I mean, like I mentioned, it's Kentucky. They're a staple when it comes to college basketball. And the notoriety that this man Rob has been able to obtain just playing for Kentucky, I mean, the nationally televised games that they've been having overall throughout the season, during the regular season, the hype that this team has with March Madness. I mean, he was one of the freshmen that, this Kentucky team managed to brought on, and the conversation around this team was to win a March Madness tournament. So eyes have been on this team throughout the entire season. And when you have guys like DJ Wagner, who's putting people in seats, Reed Shepherd, who showcased, what he can do, Antonio Reeves showcasing that he's one of the best scorers and one of the best players, not just in the conference, but overall in the nation. I mean, I feel like it's obvious that Robert Dillingham had made the right choice. Obviously, we didn't really get to see his full potential or full capabilities of what he can do when it comes to college basketball. And that's something that it honestly does suck, but it is what it is. But I do think Robert Dillingham definitely maximized what he could do playing for Kentucky. I don't think with the minutes that he was being able to play for John Calipari, there's really not much that you can really ask him more to do. I mean, any mistake that Robert Dillingham made, he would get taken out the game. If he gets one turnover, if he shoots an ill-advised shot, he's getting taken out the game. But if he's playing for NC State, obviously this kid is probably most likely going to have the green light. He would definitely get away with a lot more things, but that's what Coach Cal preaches. Whenever you're playing for Kentucky, that's your first season playing in the NBA, essentially. And obviously, Robert Dillingham's goal is to make it to the NBA, so you really can't blame him for wanting to go to Kentucky at the end of the day. Like I said, I do think he made the right decision for himself. And like I said, it didn't ultimately work out in the end as far as making a deep run in the tournament, but they made it. He had a lot of big moments during the season, and I really don't think it's as bad as what people are saying. Overall, though, shout out to NC State. They're actually a team that I hope actually makes it far in the tournament. I'm personally either going for them or Arizona. I really want Caleb Love to get a March Madness tournament ring. That would honestly be cool. Same thing with UNC. I kind of want RJ Davis to get his ring as well. Let me know down below who you guys have winning March Madness. Let me know if you guys want some more daily uploads, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.